Hey guys, so we're back with another episode of MOK.
So guys, as we said in the last episode, today we're going to be teaching you who should be your first love. The one that you should be investing in. You know what I'm trying to say? The one that you should be giving your all to. The one that you should be, you know what I'm trying to say, giving your life, your time, your pressure, time, your speech, your pressure, when you're whispering in their ears and you say, you should be doing that too. The true one. You ready to hear it? Ready?
God.
It's God.
It's not him.
It's not her. Why do we say this? As we said, we're gonna be dropping the love bombs, and you're gonna be hearing the spiritual bombs side of things as well.
And to be honest, we can't give you guys something that we don't practice. This is what we practice. This is what makes our marriage successful. This is what makes our marriage, harmonious. So this is what we're gonna give to you.
Oh what?
It's not your vocabulary, babe. Don't worry about it.
So you use your Birmingham accent.
So today we're gonna be speaking about our first loves. Last week we spoke about self-love and the importance of loving yourself before you come and love somebody else. But today we're going to be speaking about who is the first love, and that's a powerful thing, like first, even before yourself, the first, and it will remain. God has to remain the first as well. Like it doesn't become the second, it doesn't become after your husband. God has to remain
first love. And with all of that, you have to know who's the first love, who's your second love, and who's obviously your third.
It's a rank,
so there's a rank to it. You're trying to say. For me, my wife is not even my first love. 100. She's not my second love either. Never say so never. It goes like this for me. You got God. You got me.
Your hand best not move. Pick up your hand from the floor.
Okay, cool. And then you got me.
God should be our first love, because we kind of touched on it in the first episode, because of course self-love and completion comes from when you understand God and God's purpose for your life, and that you are God's creation, that you was created, you was made in all the ways that you was made to be that way. So of course it does kind of connect with self-love, and that's what obviously we're going to be speaking about today.
And the reason why we're speaking about this, because as Christians, there's a book in Matthew something, there was a time where someone approached Jesus and asked him, what's the most important,
greatest commandment?
What's the greatest commandment? He said, love the Lord your God above with all your heart, soul and mind. So that says it all. With all your soul,
with all your heart, soul and mind.
Yeah. So if I have to love him first with all of these areas, and then he said the second one was love your neighbors. So first I have to love God, second I have to love my neighbor.
As you love yourself.
As you love yourself. Don't forget that part. I forgot that part. As you love yourself. So I have to first love God, then I have to love my neighbor as I love myself.
But
imagine now I don't love myself, how can I love her?
That's the second one gone. The first one.
And how could I love the first one if I don't love myself?
Doesn't make sense.
It all intertwines. Yeah. Yes, it's not in your vocabulary. Yeah, I can't even say the word properly. Can't say nothing now.
Okay.
What's the word?
Intertwine. Right. But yeah. So I think for me personally, and I can say for you as well, God, it's like your first love. Why? Because like you said, I think in the last episode, that when you come together, it's not about pleasing yourself no more, it's about pleasing the other person. And the things that it takes to have a successful marriage, you first learn with a successful relationship with God. So if you can't maintain a successful relationship with God, you can't have communion with Him, you can't be faithful to Him in your words and in your actions. You don't, when you are not in the church or when you're not around people of faith, you don't represent God. Taking that now to your marriage, you're not going to be faithful to your partner in your words or in your actions. When your partner's not around, you're not going to represent them. You're not going to be holding it down for your relationship. You're not going to be obedient to what your partner has to say. And even one thing that's so important with our relationship with God, God asks things that is not easy. God asks things that is against your will. God asks things that you don't want to do. And if you don't have that obedience that you learn with your relationship with God to obey, and the discipline that it takes to obey when you don't feel like doing something. When you go to a marriage now and he's asking, oh, what's for dinner? Or, oh, can you please do this for me? And you don't want to do it. You don't want to cook today. You're not going to have that obedience because you haven't first had it with God. And personally, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't fear God or doesn't respect God or isn't faithful, because I am not God. If you don't respect God, why are you going to respect me, just a man? No.
Love is patient, love is kind. I don't know the Bible first, but it's there. Now you say you have above everything, man. There's nothing more important than that. There's actually nothing more important than actually giving your life to God. Yeah. As you said something about being faithful. I remember someone once said to me, you can't mention the word faithful without thinking of God, without thinking of being faithful to God. And that's actually something that for me, it stood out, because if I'm first faithful to God, that means I will be faithful in everything that I do. I'll be faithful in my marriage, I'll be faithful at work, I'll be faithful when I'm up in the street, I'll be faithful when a girl approaches me. You know what I just said that, everybody?
Another story,
yeah. Be faithful when a girl approaches me, I'll be faithful when I'm at home, when I'm in everything, I'll be, it's
like the foundation.
Yeah. It's just, I can't.
There's no words.
There's just no words.
We'll come to put it into words. Just try.
It's like literally no words. So, like we said, first, you have to have your love of God. And then you have to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it shows you the stages. God first, then yourself, then your neighbor. Because if that wasn't the case, we would have just said, you know, I love that brother. You don't need to love yourself. It is what it is, isn't it?
It's true.
But that's not what it says. I live my life. I'm not one of these Christians that says I believe in the Bible, but yeah, I live my life contrary. That's the thing there.
I don't know if that's it.
I think that's right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever. I don't, you know what I'm trying to say? I stick to what I believe in. I stick to what I believe in. I stick to what it says. And I say it in my chest. People are not going to like what we're saying.
It's true. And even one thing that I wanted to pick up on, like I said in the first episode, that when there's no self-love, the person in your life can become like your God. It is deep. Like, you actually need to sit and you really need to deep this, because when, like we're saying, a relationship with God, it requires obedience, it requires sacrifice, it requires all these things. But some people, they are like, very truthfully, before I go any further, the only person, God is not a person, but God is the only thing that can fill you, basically. There's no other thing, other substance, other person, other anything that can fill you, because God made us. So that piece inside of us needs the creator that created us. So that's what makes sense. But when you make your partner your God, you can see the same traits that you would use to obey God and to serve God in them. Say, for example, if he's my God, if he tells me now to do something that I don't want to do, I'm going to do it. If he tells me to do something that disrupts my faith, just completely disregards my communion with God. He's my God, so I'm gonna do what he says, I'm gonna obey what he says. And how can God respect me? How can I have a communion with God if he's the first in my life? And one way to see if your partner is like your God is if you're afraid of losing them, because we always hear, oh, fear of the Lord. The person is someone that is fearful woman, someone that fears the Lord. But if you're afraid to lose your partner, as in if you lose your partner, your world will end. You're gonna cry, you're gonna not go on anymore, you won't be able to live, all of these things. I'll cry, but we actually move like you're dead, do you get me? But like some people, they literally live as if this boy leaves me, I'm gonna die, I won't be able to breathe, I'm gonna completely kill myself and all these things. That means that person is your God, because you are afraid to lose this person. And no matter what he says, no matter how he treats you, if he cheats on you, if he lies to you, if he disrespects you, you're gonna take him back because you're afraid to lose him. But then to put that into the right sense now and use that same obedience to God, people say they can't do it.
There's something that you were saying about if that person dies, because that person is your God, it relates to the thing that I said in the last episode. Of if, like I said, if that person dies, that person will be so
completely distraught.
Yes, exactly, so completely distraught. There's some people out there that will go to this brother's gravestone and sleep there. There's people, because that individual was their God. Even after they are gone, you were still making them your God.
Yeah.
One thing I've said to you before was this: the day I die, get my body, burn it, get ashes, throw it down the toilet. I don't care. I'm dead. I'm dead. You know what I'm trying to say? It's the fact why I speak like this is because I know. Don't worry about me, my G. If I'm dead, I'm in a better place, my dog. Literally. Don't make me your God. The day I die, go to God and say thank you. Straight. It is what it is. It is what it is. Literally. So, like we said, today we spoke about the second love. Not the second love.
Ingredient.
That thing there. As you said. So first is God. Then it's yourself. No. then it's your neighbor, your partner, your family, whatever it is. Yeah. So in the next one, we're gonna be speaking how these two intertwine.
Yeah.
Anyways, how these two intertwine to actually make a perfect marriage. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in for another episode of MOK A&D.
Hey.
Until
next time. Bye.
Peace.